Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of the Talk That Talk Show with me, Barry Holmes. And we are here for our 239th episode of the Talk That Talk Show. And I specifically wanted to wait until Tuesday night to finish up and do our episode for the week because tonight was definitely a big night for us. I alluded to it in past episode before about tonight being our last night bowling on Tuesday nights as we switch to another league. But leading up to it, it didn't feel real, right? It didn't feel like tonight would be the last time I'd be bowling on Tuesday nights. This league was special, man. It's the place that I saw my brother shoot his first 300 in. It's just been, something where I saw my average progress. I've met so many cool people and, lifetime friends now through that league. And, culminating to this night, we had the goal of trying to, finish top five. And, I want to definitely revisit this, but, going back to it, I wouldn't have gotten to this point Tuesday if it wasn't for what happened on Thursday. And, all season long, in this majestic league, we kind of carried this chip on our shoulder. And, people were saying that we didn't have 200 bowlers on our team with me, my brother, my sister, TK, Tori. Nobody gave us a chance. And, we just kept fighting and clawing. At the beginning of the season, I dealt with an injury, still dealing with, lingering pain from, my accident from last February. Going through neck injections and, a bunch of different subs throughout that beginning part of the season. Got to give a big time shout out to the people that subbed for us at that early part. Wouldn't have been if it wasn't for Eric, putting in those solid 3-4 weeks. Big shout out to James May for subbing on our team. And as much shit as I give him, got to give a big time shout out to Chris Riordan as well, too. Each one of the subs that we had throughout the season stepped up for us. And, on Thursday night, coming into it, we had the slimmest of slim opportunities to try and take first place in this league. And we needed, one of the craziest scenarios to happen. And we needed, first place to only take 2 games. And we needed the second place team to take, 2 games, but they had to take wood. But even on top of that, to even get to that point, we needed to sweep every single game. So, there was a lot of different things that needed to happen and to be into play, for us to take first place. And, one of the things that, we as a team decided was that, we just have to handle business. But it's, it's hard to not look over on the other side and see what the other team's doing. But even leading up to us bowling this potentially biggest match of the season, it was awesome because, there's so much pride with us in being sponsored and having the sponsor in Cloud9 Dispensary. And, I told people all the time, there's a lot of people that just can roll a bowling ball and that's it. But, the fact that we have personality, the fact that people see something in us and see that my family is special beyond just rolling a bowling ball. Cloud9 Dispensary, took the checkbook out and they decided to sponsor us. And, I think that that's a big time deal. And, a lot of times people write the checkbook and then just say, all right, see you later. But, in the biggest game of the season, in the biggest week for us, that final week, our sponsor showed up for us. So, once again, big time shout out to Cloud9 Dispensary for coming out to watch us. They were the biggest supporters, John and Kristen. And, they were intently watching. And I remember at one point in the second game, we had to chop down so much wood. And, the owner who didn't roll a single ball, but he says to us, he goes, guys, we got this. We're really close. And it's like when you have that investment from people that believe in you from the outside, it's such a big time deal, man. And, again, to have our sponsors there gave us that extra boost, because a lot of times people have people at the lanes and they have nobody to support them. I feel like all the time when I look in the pit, we got somebody, whether it's Eric, my boy Eric, whether it's like Jimmy Charles, or just anybody randomly that comes in to check us out. It means the world. But again, to have that support system in our sponsors, to see us rocking those sponsored jerseys, it was huge, man. And we needed all of those things to happen. We needed second place to only take 2 points. We needed to take all 9. And when it came down to it, we handled our end of the bargain. We swept. And we did it in definitive fashion. And it was crazy because, we had a situation where, there was a 5 for 5 where everybody has to strike in the 5th frame. And if you do so, you win the money. And it came down to my brother. We all struck, and, he threw a good shot out there and it just didn't strike. But the thing that, was so awesome was, it didn't let my brother, stop him from doing his job. And, with us taking that 9 points, I started to look over to the left and I saw that it was super close. We needed that second place team to at least take one. We needed that first place team to take at least one game, because if they would have swept, then Happy's team, Sean Peck, would have won. They would have won it all. But it was like in the 9th and 10th frame, and I think Dave Shampton got a big time strike, and I started saying, good spare, man, good spare. So I think that's when the rest of our teammates started to see that, oh shit, we got a real chance at this. And when it came down to it, their team won. And I thought that with once they had won, the points were already tallied up, and our team was in 4th place, and when taking 9, we jumped all the way to 1st place. And the 1st place team, in taking 2, still had a chance and a share of 1st place. And I thought that, most times when there's a tie, it goes down to total pins, handicap pins or whatever the case may be. But then I started hearing, I think Rocco, big shout out to him, but he came up to me and he was like, yo, we're going to have a roll-off. You guys are going to have a roll-off. And I had never had a roll-off a day in my life. I've been in tournaments where you advance and you have the step ladder where, if you keep going, you move on up to the next match. But I had never had a point where a league ended in a tie for 1st place, which ended in a roll-off. And when I tell you, my heart was pounding, guys. Like, it was pounding. Big shout out to my girlfriend, because, she was my rock. And she literally said to me, she's like, Barry, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Go out there and have fun. And, I just tried to think about that, not knowing that this was potentially, the biggest match of my career, in essence. And, I played college sport before. I played high school basketball. That's why I got the name Barry Buckets. I'd even won a league before, and the one time we had won a league was over at Greenbrook, and we had actually clinched a week before the end of the season. So it wasn't the hoopla that this was on this past Thursday. So when it came down to the roll-off, I knew our sponsor was excited, because even before I got my balls off the lane to go over to the other lane, they were already there ready for us, So I knew it was going to be something big, and it was going to be something special. And, if you looked at us the first 2 frames, you would have been like, oh shit, they're struggling. I think me and Tori had just missed both back-to-back, and I think actually TK might have missed 2. And we were like, oh, fuck, man, this is going to be tough. But sure enough, and once again, it was funny because the team we were battling against, Scott Frangione, big shout out to him, but he's one of our staff guys on Ink Parlor. So it was almost like family battling family. And, one of the things that I got to shout out, big shout out to Dustin, who's going to be my teammate on Mondays. But he said something to TK, and he told him straight up, he's like, yo, it was torched on that lane. It was torched. And TK relayed that information to us going into the roll-off, and I went to the last ball in my bag, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going thug ball. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to just, get it out there and let the ball work. And, it was tough because those lanes were fried. But, at the end of the day, it just came down to mental toughness. And I think that, going to that fifth game, we all wanted it bad, man. And I really, when I left, college basketball, my life, I was, itching for that feeling back of that competitiveness that if you miss, you lose, and I can't describe to you what it felt like in that roll-off where I was just going to battle with my family, but TK just really he put the team on his back, man, and we just all just kept getting infused by the energy throughout all of our team, and he kept saying right now, and even when it came down to it was like the 8th or 9th frame, and mathematically we were looking really good. I just kept saying to our teammates, job not done. And when the last shot through and we won, I just couldn't hold it in, man. And to do it in front of the sponsors, to do it in front of the people that stayed afterwards to watch us bowl that roll off, it just meant the world to me, man. And I played Division III basketball. I wasn't on scholarship. I had to walk on. I wasn't the best basketball player. If you want to go back down to it, my earliest memories was, being in Little League Baseball and my dad taking me home. And I remember looking out and seeing these kids, and they all had their names on the back of the jerseys. I was like, man, I want one of those. And at the time, it was a travel team. And my dad said, well, you can't just get one of those. You got to earn one. And I remember after that, I just decided I wanted to work hard and just be the best that I could. And I eventually earned a travel spot in baseball. And, that was my earliest memories of just like trying to work hard. And I always just carried that chip on my shoulder. I didn't have, the best school that I went to. I went to Edison High. We weren't known for basketball. And I was able to take that team to the state tournament for the first time in over a decade. Shout out to my teammates that were a part of that team. But again, it's just that chip that was on my shoulder. Going to York College of basketball and earning a walk-on spot, busting, Nick Brady's ass in practice. But I love him to death. And, he was an eventual national player of the year. And one of the things he told me was, thank you so much for how hard I was going in practice with him. And, to this day, I always hold that chip on my shoulder, man. I didn't get a scholarship spot. I had to earn that walk-on just for my defense, man. And then coming into the bowling scene where you have people that have all this, knowledge and all this experience. And, I was kind of fresh into it. I had to teach myself these things. I didn't have any refined training or any coaching and things like that. But it was people like David Lee that, took me under the wings. People like my pops, people that just gave me a chance. I went from just subbing and taking any opportunity that I could to being able to forge my own team, and to say that this team that I forged together of me, my brother, my sister, my dad, TK, this team that I put together, we all carry that chip on our shoulder feeling, because nothing is ever given to us. Even before we stepped foot in that door in Majestic, nobody gave us a chance. That league championship that we won, that was for my Uncle Mickey. That was for David Lee and Christy Lee. I remember when me and them, we were in that league at Majestic, and we were getting slapped every week, man. And, I vowed to at some point make it back so that we could avenge that. And to come out on the other side and, be league champions, that's something that nobody can take from us, man. It's something that nobody can take from us, bro. And it meant the world, bro. To do it with my father, who says he's in tears right now listening to this. It's one of my greatest sports accomplishments, man. It's a 39-team league, and every week you can get your ass kicked, man. And I'll never forget it. Episode after I filmed it in Majestic Lanes, and we had to bowl against Tommy Martino. He proceeded to beat the brakes off of us, man. But again, it's the fire and the desire within our team to keep pushing forward, man. And I think that above all, we had every reason not to take first place this year. We had every single reason not to. But, from every little thing that was tossed in our way, we just kept clawing and scratching and just even to earn a fucking roll-off, man, and not drop that bag. That's what it's all about. And, again, we took that time to celebrate. Again, we had our celebration. We had the champagne. But I think that, and this is why I started off with what happened today, Tuesday, was that coming into it today, we might have still been on that honeymoon high where, we coming in league champions from Majestic. I was there on Saturday going to see my UBA team, and everybody's congratulating us, saying about how we were league champions at Majestic. And then I came into today in the last week of Tuesday. We wanted to finish in the top 5, and we wanted to finish off the right way because this was our last Tuesday. The very league that we started out where I wouldn't even have been a league champion had it not been for the years put in this Tuesday night league. I wanted to end on the right note and get a dub, and unfortunately, we got beat pretty bad, man. We got beat pretty bad. We lost 15-5. My brother, big shout out to him because, he's a gangster, man. He's a fucking gangster. He never complains. He always just puts his best foot forward and just is always just keeping that mental memory going and trying to fight and find a way. And, he wound up sweeping his guy, and he took all 5 of our points today. And, I bowled against a guy who absolutely kicked the shit out of me. He beat the shit out of me. And, I shot at like a 530 something. He wound up shooting 720 on me. And, the thing is, I said it, and I've said it so many times, oh, this guy shot 7 something on me. Oh, he had a great night. At some point, you got to take some accountability yourself and be like, I can do this too. It's not about what this guy does. Strike Tyson always said, there's no defense in bowling, man. You can't play defense in bowling. Like, it's you against yourself. And unfortunately, I left my brother out to dry out there because I couldn't give him no help, man. I was trying my best. But, this guy that my girlfriend works with, I'm not the biggest fan of him. But, we were subbing in his class today. And one of the things that he said was, at some point, trying hard is not going to be enough. I tried hard today, but it wasn't enough. In the biggest night for us in this Tuesday night league to finish off in the right way, I'm not going to get a second chance at this. I laid a goose egg today. And I think that again, what I want to bring up the point of this and culminate this all together is, it's okay to be happy and be, celebrate that success of what happens. But, there has to be some point where, you put that aside and get that Mamba mentality and be like, you know what? We accomplished that. What's the next thing on the list? Let's accomplish this. And I think that for me, getting my ass kicked today was exactly what I needed. The honeymoon is over. Midnight has struck for Cinderella. And for me, as a league champion, I was extremely hurt by how I let myself get the shit kicked out of me today. And, to leave my brother out there, that's not what league champions do. So, I'm going to take this loss today And, I got to get better, just got to get better. TK, big shout out to him. He said it, even the pros practice, trying to find some sort of time to practice, because at the end of the day, trying hard is good. It's always good to try your best, but at some point, trying really hard isn't going to be enough. And it comes down to what have you done adjustments wise to then succeed. And that's where I'm at right now, in trying to not only be league champions and wear that crown, but go beyond that and continue to wear that crown. Because I say this, anybody can be happy with it and just pack it in and just be content. But true champions, never have that contention inside of them. So, big shout out to, my teammates. Tori, we couldn't have done this without her. She's a big time killer too. It just seemed like every time we needed a strike in a key big time moment, Tori stepped up and, she showed that pedigree and what she is. My father, he's been the rock for our team. At the beginning of the season, he might not have bowled the way he wanted to, but, the one thing about my dad is you can never question the heart that he has inside of him. And that's why we continue to push on and push as hard as we do, because, heart is something that you can't buy. You can't fake that. And, that's what my dad brings to that team. And then you got my brother who, he's the anchor, and, you can never tell whether he's shooting 250 or whether he's shooting 130. I think that his even keelness and, his preparation and how, mentally stable he is, that's what really propels him and what takes our team to the next level. And then you got a guy in TK who, is fairly new to this, but, he's a veteran already. He is the prime example of what it means to put the work in and put the time and effort into your craft. And I think that, the culmination of all of us together, culminated into the league championship. So, I just want to thank everybody that was on that team. I want to thank, the sponsors, Cloud9. And, also, I got to once again shout out my boy Eric because, he got me this dope Talk That Talk Show jersey. He calls this the what the fuck jersey. If I'm gonna stand up for you guys so you can see, the story behind this jersey is Eric, is somebody that's always rocked every single one of my jerseys from day one. When it comes to loyalty, Eric is definitely one of the most loyal bowlers and friends that I've met. And, anytime I have anything, he always wants to support it. And I had no idea, but he literally came up to me, to Tim, and he was like, yo, I want to make this jersey. I want to surprise Barry. I got this idea. And sure enough, he had the idea of putting together every single Talk That Talk Show jersey that I've made, because one of his favorite shoes are his What the Fuck LeBron jersey shoes, and I think he has a pair of the Kobe's as well. And in that frame, they have a bunch of different fabrics and different colors that all come together to make this shoe. Well, he took that same idea and put together this Talk That Talk Show jersey, which literally has every single jersey that I've made. And I think that, again, this speaks to, how to Talk That Talk Show has extended beyond just the microphone. And, to think that we have somebody like my friend Eric, my brother Eric, who, decided to create something that, I could have and that, we could have and share together and build my brand with. And I'm like, that is what excites me about Talk That Talk Show and this brand is that, I have, you can't underestimate the power of support. I truly believe that I have the greatest support system in the world, man. To think that even when I'm not thinking about my brand, I got people thinking about my brand and wanting to help me and wanted to help build this together. And, I wore this jersey with pride and got, plenty of compliments. And, again, to have people that, care about me and care about this family. And, that's what it's all about, man. And, I cherish these relationships, and I cherish, people like Strike Tyson, people like Eric, people like Ishabod Crane, who even when I'm bowling like dog water, dog shit, he still comes out there to support me every week. And, someone like Jeff, who always asks, oh, how you doing? Or my mom, who, supports me in every single way possible. I feel like, again, even like Tim, somebody who makes all my jerseys and, decided to make this team to come together, to come to Monday nights. I feel like I have the best support system in the world, and that is what continues to propel me forward in the right direction. And, not only people like Lucky, who says talk that talk, who is constantly promoting me, but, you have people who I got to shout out. Big time shout out to Doc, who, no matter what, whether we're going to the dispensary late time or, whether I'm not even talking after a big time loss, she's always there to support me, man. So again, I got the best support system in the world, and that's what helps me to accomplish the goals that I have, like, winning a league championship or getting my average up or, getting a new career path. These are all milestones that I couldn't do without you guys, man. I mean, shit, we have 239 episodes of the Talk That Talk show, man. Think about how many of your friends and think about how many of your people started something that never finished it. How many times that you had someone that lacked the consistency and you always wish, damn, what if they had that drive in them? What could they do? And I try to be that example. And I said it to Lucky, and I'm sure he's on the live here, but I said it to him. I was like, how many people that has affected the game of bowling without rolling a bowling ball? You go in the bowling alley, and I promise you'll see so many people rocking Talk That Talk Show jerseys. Any single one of these jerseys, man. Ink Parlor has helped me. Tim has helped me to build this brand together. And, our effect in the bowling alley goes without saying, man. And, we still have people that coming in asking me for jerseys. The fact that I got someone like a Jeff Lemieux, who, he's not bowls for St. Joe's High School, but he's rocking a Talk That Talk Show jersey in his off time. We got people that truly want to support this vision, and it extends beyond just just talking into a microphone. So once again, guys, this culmination, I wouldn't have been able to make all these jerseys to make the what the fuck jersey that Eric wanted if it wasn't for all of the support of you all, man. Every single one of you guys that tune in. I know I got the toughest schedule. I know, it's tough to stay consistent with every single one day right there. But I try to make sure that I get this episode to you guys every single week, because there are people out here. We got the 10 on Facebook right now. We got people on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. There are people like Jeff that hit me up saying, where is this episode? Where is it? And, that puts that fire within me, man. People like Rodis, who says, you have our support. And he's all the way out in Virginia, man, all the way down south. One of my friends from college from over 10 years ago, right, it seems like. But, again, it's very, respecting for me to have that from everybody. I mean, I got snot dripping out my nose here, and I'm just trying to make it go together, man. Tim says, I think those might sell like hotcakes. You should do an exclusive pre-sale. Don't miss out on those limited holla. Hey, well, let's see this. You already saw I'm on staff with Tim right now. Let's see if we can get the support. If this is a jersey you think you would like, put in it and say, I want that jersey. Put the comments in there and say, I want that jersey. if we can see people who want that, maybe we'll put together that pre-order, Tim. But, before I hop off the air here, I definitely want to talk about the NFL playoffs that just happened. That wild card round was insane. I know a lot of us got work tomorrow, but I'll say this. We got to talk about it. First and foremost, the Texans beating the Browns 45-14. I think, in one sentence, we just say C.J. Stroud is the truth. I think that's what we all understood. Joe Flacco, midnight struck for Cinderella, and unfortunately for the Browns, their season is over. But you can only get but so far, without a true quarterback. And yes, Joe Flacco did his thing, but, he's not the long-term solution. I'm not sure Deshaun Watson is the long-term solution for the Browns. But financially, they have no other option. But on the other side, you have the Texans, who have someone in C.J. Stroud who lit it up, has shown the leadership, has won the locker room, and, the rookie quarterback did it with DeMeco Ryans, a rookie coach. Texans, again, like I said last episode, they're a dangerous team, a team with nothing to lose. And nobody expected them to be there. I think they had 3 wins last season. And now they're in the AFC divisional round, potentially going up against the Ravens. If you are a Ravens fan, I think that, it's going to be tough. I see C.J. Stroud has struggled on the road this season, lost a real tough game to the Jets. So one of the things that I saw from that Jets game is pressure. And I think that that's one of the things that, John Harbaugh and over in Baltimore, they do a great job of making your quarterback uncomfortable. And in times that C.J. Stroud was uncomfortable, he became human. So I'm looking to the Baltimore Ravens to see, can they ramp up that defense, and can they get some pressure on C.J. so that, he gets out of the pocket and we can try and see what type of quarterback he can be under duress, because what we saw is he can light you up if he is in that pocket and his wide receivers can create that separation. So this game is purely on the defense. We know the Baltimore Ravens are going to be able to score points, but it comes down to, can that Ravens defense step up to make C.J. Stroud human? And then we had the Chiefs that won 26-7 over the Dolphins. And I think that, like I said again last episode, man, I must be Nostradamus here, but I said that the defense was going to have to carry the Chiefs if we were going to win. And surprisingly, we got a great offensive performance from our team. To score 26 points, it seems like ages since the Chiefs has scored that many points, right? But the defense has been playing solid. I think that, with them beating the Dolphins the way they did, it just shows that, and we already know what Patrick Mahomes can do, but it shows that Rashee Rice is a reliable option for us. He's somebody that can get you the yards, and he's not going to drop passes. And I think that we also see that the Dolphins, weren't as good as we thought they were, but that defense of the Chiefs is championship caliber. If there's anything that shows me that the Chiefs have a chance, it's that defense, because they showed up ready to go. And then on the NFC side of things, Cowboys fans, I know you're upset. The Packers beat you 48-32 in the Big D. But unfortunately for you guys, you have a lot of questions to ask. Is McCarthy still the answer? Is Dak worth the money that they're paying him? It's a wealth of questions. The defense, that was relied upon all year long, looked Swiss cheese out there. I don't know if it's more the defense was that bad, or is the Packers offense just that good? I don't know. But, to put up 48 points in a playoff game on the road, that's not a fluke. So it's one thing that I've learned from that game. The Packers are legit, and they may be the hottest team in the playoffs right now. And then the Lions pulled out a nail-biter against the Rams, 24-23. This is big, man. The Lions are for real. I think we were all waiting for the Lions to do what the Cowboys did and fold. But, they're well coached, man. Dan Campbell is coaching that team up very good. The Lions are legit, and I think with the Eagles now being bounced out, that NFC is wide open, but it's looking more so like if I'm gonna put my money on it, I gotta put it on the Lions for right now. But then we have the Bills, who I think we all expected them to beat the Steelers, and they won 31-17. Again, you can't get but so far in the playoffs without a real quarterback. And Mason Rudolph is not championship caliber. But if I were the Steelers, obviously Tomlin's got to stay. He wants to stay. He hasn't had a losing season. But at what point is just making the playoffs not enough for the Steelers anymore? I feel like the fans are getting restless, but you can't put it all on Tomlin, man. He needs he needs guys that can play, and the Steelers, he maximized that roster, but Mason Rudolph is not it, man. Kenny Pickett, not it, man. And then we got the Eagles that lost 9 to the Buccaneers at 32 points. Man, to the fall from grace, the Eagles were 10-1 and fell all the way to having to play a wild card game on the road. How embarrassing. All those, hey, fly, Eagles, fly. Where is it? Come on, Eagles fans. We have been getting on the Cowboys so much, but can we finally hold the Eagles fans accountable? The only person that didn't believe was Mr. Lombardo. Mr. Lombardo, I should have listened to you when you told me that the Eagles weren't going to win. But listen, the thing that I've been seeing that's been a little bit unfortunate to me was seeing people really bash Jalen Hurts and say that he was the reason why that team lost. And for me, I think that losing A.J. Brown was a lot bigger of a hurt than the Eagles would wanted to admit. And the Eagles are a running team, man. Let's get it first. And when they couldn't run that football and that wasn't their option, Jalen Hurts is serviceable, but he's not elite to the level of like a Patrick Mahomes or, dare we say, a C.J. Stroud driving the ball down the field. We saw that he was pretty human without those weapons. So, Eagles fans, I don't think firing Sirianni is the answer. I just think that, you got to look at that personnel. Dare I say that the Eagles are starting to get a little bit more weathered, a little bit older, right? Fletcher Cox is getting old, man, you got Jason Kelsey who just retired. Some of those guys are starting to get up there, and maybe, just maybe, Father Time is starting to catch up to the Eagles, all right? I know Jalen Hurts is young. Trust me, I get it. But, the Jalen Hurts can't go out there and tackle as well, too. He can't go out there and go cover guys on the secondary, right? And it looked like these guys were wide open for the Bucs. And for a team in the Eagles that was, relied so heavily on their defensive last year. Now, I just think that we saw that, there was a lot more holes in that Eagles team than maybe we wanted to admit. And then looking at it before we hop off the air, I want to give you guys some predictions. So Texans, Ravens, I've been debating this all week long because in my mind, my heart wants to go Texans. I have been riding the Texans betting train all year long. But unfortunately, I think that, the Texans are going to run into a defense that they have not seen yet in the Ravens at this championship caliber level. I think that regular season is different from the postseason, and I think the Ravens are on a path that the Texans just can't really stop. So if you ask me, I got the Ravens in a close one. I got them at 2.5. If I'm a bettor, and we look at this as the betting side of things too, I'll bump it down to 2.5. I like that 2.5 Ravens, if you ask me. I don't think the Texans get blown out in this one. I think the Ravens do win, though. Then we have the Packers at the 49ers. In my heart, I want to go Packers. In my mind, my heart wants to go Packers. But unfortunately, I think that, the Texans are going to run into a defense that they have not seen yet in the Ravens at this championship caliber level. I think that Regular season is different from the postseason, and I think the Ravens are on a path that the Texans just can't really stop. So if you ask me, I got the Ravens in a close one. I got the Ravens in a close one. If I'm a bettor, and we look at this as the betting side of things too, I'll bump it down to 2.5. I like that 2.5 Ravens, if you ask me. I don't think the Texans get blown out in this one. I think the Ravens do win, though. Then we have the Packers at the 49ers. I wanted to bump this line down. I think the line was at 9.5. But I think that the 49ers are just too well-rounded for the Packers. What we saw was the Packers were able to expose the Cowboys and show that this team was not really the talented team defensively that we thought. That 49ers team is bona fide. They are for real defensively. And if you are not able to put up points with them, the 49ers will give you a 30-burger, 40-burger real quick. But with the Packers scoring 48 points here, they've shown that Jordan Love can drive that ball downfield. So I do like this game, but if you ask me, I take the over in this game. I think this is going to be a bigger shootout than we think. But I think the 49ers come out on top. Again, the 9.5 is a lot, but I think that if you want to bump it down, maybe bump it down to 5.5. I definitely think the 49ers are able to win by a touchdown. Then we got the Buccaneers going against the Lions. Man, this is another trap game, guys. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team that's been fighting with a chip on their shoulder this whole year. And if you think that the Buccaneers are a shootout, man, I don't know. Because, Baker Mayfield is playing some of his best football in his career, arguably. And, with the Lions, being at home, I think that's huge. I think that really levels the playing field for this game because, what we've seen from the Buccaneers is that, they play their best at home. Baker loves playing in front of that home crowd, right? And I think that with the Lions having the weapons that they do, I think that their run game is really what's going to help stabilize and potentially keep that Buccaneers team off of the field. When you look at, why the Eagles were, lost the way they did, they couldn't sustain any drives to keep any rhythm going to take the Buccaneers off the field, right? Or keep them off. It just seemed whenever you turn the game back on or whenever you look, the Buccaneers had the ball. Ball control is just as important as scoring, points in football. And I'll say that, the Buccaneers do a great job of, controlling the ball. But if the Lions can stick to their run game and try and negate the ball control game that the Buccaneers like to play, I think this should be, potentially one of those games that you can take the spread with. Whatever the points are at for the Lions, I would take them as favorites in that because, the Buccaneers have had a great year, but I think this is, the Lions are on a path that, the Buccaneers are not going to be able to derail, in my opinion. And then I saved the best for last, the Chiefs versus Bills. To the contrary of what I want to say, I do want to say that the Chiefs will have this. I think that the Chiefs, have done a great job in getting to the divisional round, taking and handling business. But to go play in Buffalo, in the weather that they got out there, that freezing cold, it is not going to be easy, guys. And, to say that we beat the Bills the last 2 times, what do we always say? It's so hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. And I think that Josh Allen, he's been running the ball elite. He's been playing well. He's not turning the ball over. As much as it pains me as a Chiefs fan, I truly think the Bills have a really good chance to win this game. I think that the way that the Chiefs have struggled, throughout the season, and they're going to have to push that ball downfield. They are going to have to push the ball downfield. And, if Isaiah Pacheco's not running the ball hard and you got Josh Allen who's been controlling the ball, winning that ball control game, I think this could be a dangerous game for my Chiefs and we could really find ourselves out of the playoffs. But if the Chiefs, again, can rely on that defense and we can find a way to bottle up Josh Allen, it's going to take, again, this really falls on the defense. And Dad says Chiefs by 2.5. I like that. I think that's a great play. A lot of people are going to want to take the Bills, but I think that my heart wants to say Chiefs, but, again, the Bills are, aside from the Packers, might be the hottest team in the playoffs right now. And if I were to just go out straight up and say the Chiefs right now, I'd be a homer. But, again, let's hope that my dad is right. He says Chiefs will continue to sweep the playoffs. I'd love nothing more than to watch an AFC championship game with my dad, more than likely being against the Ravens or the Texans. Who knows? But either way, it's going to be that game, that Chiefs-Bills game is going to be the game of all games, man. And I promise you this, if the Chiefs are able to beat the Bills in the playoffs yet again, I don't know how Josh Allen can get that locker room back again. If the Chiefs, I'm telling you, listen to me here, guys. Listen, look at me. If the Chiefs beat the Bills yet again for the third time in the playoffs, I'm telling you, Josh Allen is going to have a very difficult job trying to win back that locker room yet again and say, come on, guys, we can get it again next year. So I think, even though the Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions, I think that the Bills have the most pressure out of anybody in the playoffs right now. They're playing great football, but what have we seen from Josh Allen under the pressure, right? Maybe I'm just trying to psych myself back into taking the Chiefs again, but I will say this, like Dad said, the defense will be the difference. And if they can find a way to make Josh Allen uncomfortable, you may see my Chiefs back in the AFC Championship yet again. But once again, guys, thank you guys so much for rocking out with me at Talk That Talk Show. Episode 239 is in the books. Again, thank you to everyone that supported my vision here on the Talk That Talk Show. Whether you've watched me on the bowling alley, whether you were lucky watching the roll-off, telling me to go get the ball out there a little bit. Support has come from so many different ways, and I just appreciate you guys. You all are the reason why I'm happy to rock this Talk That Talk Show. Having people like Eric that are thinking about my brand, making a jersey dope like this. I think we saw Lucky said he want one in 2XL. My pop said he wants one, so maybe we'll try and see if we can open that up so more people can get this jersey. But again, your support, guys, is what really pushes me through. I love you all. Thank you so much. Nico Vastola, big shout out to you for, coming here on the show. But and checking us out, man. I love you guys so much, man. This support is something that means the world to me, yo. And I'm going to keep pumping this podcast every single week. Next week will be episode 240. Yeah, man. This is the Talk That Talk Show. Keep tuning in. Check me out on talkthattalkshow.com, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, you name it. We're on all streaming platforms. I love you all. And for one last time, make sure you call us League Champions. Catch y'all next week.